Welcome to Slow is Good, a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to think outside of the box to grow slow and have a greater impact. In this podcast, we'll talk everything business, but most importantly, we'll talk slow business, digital strategies, creativity, some Franglish, and a load of human touch. I'm Geraldine Jipe. I'm a slowpreneur, ex-startup founder. I'll be your host. I'll share ideas, strategies, and more with joy and slowliness. Enjoy the listen.
Hi, everybody. Before to jump into the next episode, I wanted to introduce you to someone.
Hi, I'm Emily Gros from France.
Hey, so together, we decided to co-create a super event, the Slowpreneur Summit in French, Sommet des Slowpreneurs, and it's coming this June from June 12th to June 18th.
So week of sharing, content, exploration in slow mode.
So you have one thing to do, just register at sommet-slowpreneur.com, Summit in English, sommet-slowpreneur.com, and enjoy the early bird. So see you next time.
Bye.
Hello, entrepreneur, and welcome to another episode of Slow is Good podcast. I really hope that you are doing well and just came back from this very amazing experience in France in Ancenis Saint-Géréon, where I attended an amazing harp festival as a harpist amateur. And yes, we did it with Borealis, with the band. We did it. We are all amateurs. We are all very passionate about music, about the harp. And for us, it was just like a dream come true, like being able to play all around the city on beautiful scenes, on beautiful stages. That was quite something, I have to say. And mentally, in order to, you know, get ready for this this I will say this show, this tour, um, we had to tap into self knowledge and self leadership in order to bring the best of who we are to the music, to the attendees, and all the participants of and the festival goers. And the preparation was also to dig into everything, all the level of consciousness, and also all the things of the past. In my case, and I know I'm going deeper in talking about music, but it's really related to today's topic, self leadership, and building a solid and you know growing mindset in everything that we decide, you know, to manage, to grow, to create. And I believe firmly that as I started music when I was very young, in my early days, I was around 8 years old. My father back then just suggested that I could learn something in music, and I have a very traditional father who you cannot say no to. And he suggested that I will be attending the conservatory in France, somewhere in Paris, and we we went actually to we went to the conservatory, and the director mentioned that, oh, your daughter could be an amazing fit to play the harp. First of all, at that age, I didn't know even what was a harp. And my father asked me if I would be interested in discovering the instrument. In my mind, I was just like, first, what is this thing? Second, I'm there just for piano, and the rest, I don't care. And out of my mouth, I just says, yes, it will be lovely and amazing. And I encounter the instrument, which is amazing, elegant, beautiful, and there are so many strings. I was absolutely terrified, not knowing how you play this. And with time, I learned how to grow with the instrument and overcome this fear of this instrument is not meant for me, is not good enough for me, or I'm not good enough for the instrument, for the conservatory. And being myself prepared for this festival tour, it it brought back all these memories where I was not feeling enough of a musician to be able to do anything with it. And, you know, having a passion for art and music wouldn't lead me anywhere. And I think this tour was about also healing that, recognizing that the way I entered the music realm was not the easiest, not the simplest, and understanding that it was not a definition for who I have to be today to be able to play in front of 700 people in a festival. And in entrepreneurship, it's the same thing. Sometimes many of us have faced, you know, failures, bad connections, mistakes in building this amazing creation of ours. And sometimes you're just feeling like it's gonna be forever this way. But getting to know exactly how it failed, or why it failed, and the emotion that went around it kind of, liberate your mind and your spirit as well, in understanding that you can create, there's a new page that you can write about this, there's a new page that um, you can create, so that you can create something different, be something different. Because I believe that in terms of self leadership, it's all about who you are and who you want to be, and visualizing exactly who you have to become in order for these creations to become true, either through in your mind, or if you're working to visualize them, to make them the most realistic possible in your mind, then reality will be easier to shape. I'm not saying it's an easy thing and it's gonna um, become like right away exactly what you desire, but the fact to have that visualization transition to create something that makes sense in your mind, that you can feel, that will be the next version of who you have to be in order to transform your fears, overcome the challenge, and become this. I don't know what are your desires and expectations, but all that belongs to the transformation. And in order to get to these new levels, new practices, new everything, you absolutely need to envision who you have to be. And sometimes we're just thinking about mindset piece in our work as entrepreneurs, and just focusing on it's going to be okay, just going to be okay, just going to be okay. Yes, it's a part of it, but it's just a piece of it. I truly believe that self leadership is understanding the things of the past, the things of the future, but also the things of the present, and also enjoying exactly where we are at this stage. The component of the joy, a joyful experience in what is it that you're building is so important, because our mind is kind of calibrating to that. And if you are already in the future, but in a future where you're fearing what's going to come next, indeed things going to uh, be brought to life with um, the fear, the maybe anger, or all the emotion that becomes to your big dream of yours. And it literally took me quite a bit in order to understand that to make things happen, you need to become this version of the things that you desire, and that the things that you really want to happen. And it's not an easy exercise, because for most of us out there, we are feeling like, how can we do this? Especially when you don't see the exact results that you desire, the exact um, performance that you desire. because we're just trying to hang on to something that is very rational. And I have to say, um, getting trained myself with many mentors on that matter, the abundance come from an abundant mind. And when I say abundance, I'm not necessarily talking about the money part. Yes, it's an aspect, but it's not the key component of it. What's really important here is just that, when um, you feel super excited, super happy, and confident that things will go for the best. And indeed, things go very smoothly. They happen. You don't even question themselves. And that's the same feeling that we need to reproduce when we are trying to tap into um, new pieces and new areas of our, um, you know, self imaginations, creations. All that is very key in order to make these things become true and also become easy to create. Imagine yourself if you would be like, oh, I'm gonna create this new thing, and then just already having in mind, like, oh, it's not gonna work. I cannot do this. I'm gonna fail at this. How can you ask yourself and your mind to believe that this thing will become true, because in your mind actually it's saying quite the opposite, right? And a big part of exercising this belief and defying this limiting belief is to visualize, is to experiment. There are many tools out there that you can absolutely use um, in order to realign yourself to higher levels, to something that you want to create. It doesn't have to be drastic. Some people are using meditation. Personally, I've delved into vocal meditation so that it can help me recalibrate to a stable state of mind and motivation and joy. And it brings also opening new doors to creativity and, new dimensions to all the neural pathways that you need to recreate when creating a new thing. And it hasn't happened in a day. It took a few years to be able to work in that sense and work in a sense of believing that working on level of consciousness and things of the past so that I can today calibrate to higher possibilities for all the endeavors of my companies and projects and passions. And for you it's the same. um, and again, I'm saying that, but it doesn't mean that you have to give up entirely all the things of the past that went wrong. It means that you also have to be thankful for this because they actually shaped your experience, the person that you are today. It means as well that you have to be um, thankful for these lessons that you received because they are building your inside, and then after that, then you can create something else. They're not permanent. um, and the things of the past, they belong to the past, but it's important to recognize them, and there are multiple practices that you can use in order to, first be thankful, but also s- get to a point where they don't have that level of impact in your present time and also your future. And I know it sounds a little bit like kind of a stretch to think in that sense, but it's important if you are thinking about getting to a new ways of being fulfilled with all the passions that you have, whether it is music, like for me, or whether it is art, whether it is building $1 million businesses. I think taking us this time of calmness in your mind, revisiting, accepting, receiving things of the past, and getting rid of in your mind of the things of the past is important for the present and the future that you're building with all your creation. And it sounds kind of a very abstract, but the reality is like many of you already do that when you are overjoyed because something could happen. So you're not thinking about the things that were negative before. And so you're not bringing that message in your mind. And there will be, working inside pretty negatively. And so that's something similar that you have to apply to anything that you are co creating with yourself from the inside out. If you want something to exist at some point, it has to first exist in your mind beautifully. You need to be able to know yourself and know all these things like inside and conscious and unconscious things so that you can work on those and create a new chapter of all the things that you desire to create. So that's it for me. I want to share a thing. I will be sharing this self leadership guidance in the art of selling and actually using the energetic at the Slowpreneur Summit happening in 3 weeks. Emily and I are very excited about this. Make sure to join us. It's gonna be epic. We're gonna dive into the intricacies of self leadership, mindset for slowpreneurs, but also we'll dive into business design, new business design, and redefining what are the companies and enterprises of the future that we desire to build. We'll also tap into anything invisible and spiritual as well, because it's a big chunk and it's a big part of creating new things, creating new projects and new ventures and businesses. So if you haven't registered yet, I will strongly invite you to register or share it with your community at Sommet, SOMMET dash slowpreneurs, SLOWPREUNEURS.com. All right, this is it for me. See you for the next episode that you really don't want to miss. It's going to be in French though. I will be talking about all the details and behind the scene of creating such a big, big virtual summit. So there will be two pieces: before the summit and the after the summit. So you don't want to miss that. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the last episode of Slow is Good. Thanks for showing some love. Please share it with your community and your loved ones. Don't hesitate to follow us on social media, on Instagram at Slow is Good. Please share your reviews, feedback, and add some listed stars on iTunes and Spotify. This is very useful for us and to support us and for us to keep on going. I'll see you next time.